Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, that me, myself, and I play through of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We're getting ready to go into January of 1945. And without much further ado, we will go and do the weather. And for the cold zone, we roll a 5. In December to February, 5 is severe in the cold zone. In the mild zone, roll a 1, which is poor weather. So they're reversing rolls here. And then in the warm zone, Mediterranean essentially, I roll a 1, and it's actually fair there. Unfortunately, there's nothing really for me to attack in the warm zone. So that's kind of disheartening. That's the weather phase. Declaration of war, I don't see any reason to do it for anybody. Economy phase. The Germans are at 14 minus 6, which is 8. And then add 8. So that's 16 total factories, which gives them 32 production points. They also have their 2 points for their Swedes and 1 for their Finns. They're not going to give any to their allies. The West, the British, have factory count marker at 9 minus 1, which is 8. And then they add 3 for the Commonwealth, which is 11, and 8 more for their Lend-Lease, which is 19, so they're at 38. And the Russians are still at 58. They've got 16 on the extra factories, and then they're 14 minus 1, so that's 13. So 13 and 16 is 29, which is 58 points. So we're done with that. Strategic warfare. The Russians are at +1, the German are +2, and the Germans are at 0. Germans do not have anything to play. The Russians also do not have anything to play. They don't have any partisans or anything, so it's just straight die roll. Germans roll a 1. That's not good. The Russians roll a 1. +2 is a 3. Better check that. A 1 to a 3 is just enough to sneak off another factory off the Germans. So German factory loss marker goes up another 1. This is not looking good for the Germans here. Things are starting to collapse in a hurry. The question is whether it'll collapse fast enough for the Allies to be able to actually take advantage of it. Then we go over to the West. The Germans are still at 0. They start off at +2 because the Americans are in the war. Then we go off and look here. I went like Major Berserko last turn with my bomb markers. So there's 4 bomb markers. So I get an extra +4. So I'm +6 with the British. And because there's really... Now, +6 should be good enough, don't you think? I hope so. We're going to let it go. +6. So the Germans roll a 2. And the Allies roll a 3 + 6 is a 9. A 2 to a 9 is a lost factory. And so the Germans are at 8 lost factories. So I'll have 6 and 8 is 14 next turn, which will give them 28 production points. So they'll still have quite a bit of production floating around. We go to strategic movement. I really don't see any for the Germans. There's like nothing really to do. Everything's pretty much where it needs to be. Yeah, I'm none for them. None for the West. Soviets, do they have anything lagging far behind that they need to bring forward? No, these are my garrison infantries back here. So, yeah, like, no. I don't have anything really to bring forward. So, no, nothing for the Russians either. And then we'll go into the German turn. It is, if I remember right, it's poor. It's poor weather over here, so we get +1 for the armors and +1 for the airplanes. Yowza, lots of Russian air forces around here. Not many Germans. This could be a problem. This could definitely be a problem for the Germans. Well, their airplanes are probably not going to be able to be used much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the 4th Luft here. He's +2 for German, -2 for that. He'd be at best he can get a 2. Best the Russians can get a 3. So I could run a couple sorties up on this guy sitting out here in Hungary. If I don't, he's just going to run some things at me just to get me out of the way. So I might as well try and take down some of his. So we're going to go after this one. Best I can get to 2. So I'm at -4. He's at -3. And Germans roll a 3, which becomes a 1. Russians roll a 5, which becomes a 2. So we each take a sortie, and then we each take another sortie because I can't get any more than that. So he'll take 2. I'll take 2, and that'll be the end of that. By the same token, I think I'm going to run into the same problem here with the Allies. So I think I'm going to go after the British Air Force. Oh, I should use my jets on that one. Could have gotten more out of the Russians. Not paying attention. Yeah, we'll use this one and we'll throw the jets marker on the British. Where's my jets marker? So we're going to throw the jets here. I'm going to go against this British unit here, which is at -3. +1 for British, so he's -2, and then -2 more is -4. And the Germans are at net of -2. So Germans are all 2, -2. That's horrible. That's just terrible. And the British doesn't matter, so they each take 1 sortie. I was really hoping to get a 2-for-1 there with those jets. But that didn't work, so I have to try to get next turn when I have submarines. Let's see, I'd be a -4, he'd be a -4. So it'd just be a straight exchange. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add 1 there. I figure the Allies have enough airplanes to do me in anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I might as well go ahead and run their sorties up. They're going to get me up to 6 anywho. So I might as well make sure that I get them the planes I want to take out, like the British planes. I want them to go out because the British actually have to spend points. The Americans just get their things back, so they're kind of a useless thing to try and knock out unless you have overwhelming air superiority, which I do not. So now we're into German moves. And I think, much as I hate to give up the space, I really am not liking this 1st Panzer's position. So I'm going to spend 1 to move this guy here and 2 to move the Panzer there. We're not really into a big attack mode here. So that was 3. You'll have to pardon my voice. I am recovering from a cold and have lost my voice somewhat. But I really want to try and get these turns in before the end of the year, and I don't want to wait till we get into the holidays when I might never get a chance to do records. So I'm trying to do so now. I guess we'll go 1, 2, 3. 3 more. And we'll assault the French. Start off at 2 plus 1 for each buddy is plus 4. And then -1 for the woods, -1 for the weather. And the allies start off at +1 because it's American, +1 because it's armor. So we're starting off at 2 to 2. It's a matter of whether the allies want to drop their drop an airplane in here to give it +3. Germans can't drop an airplane. They could drop their Panzer. Better take a quick look in the east. So I have a tank to go there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I could do that. Probably just want to push him off this river and maybe off of here. Yeah. Okay, so I think I can go ahead and use... I'm going to go ahead and go into combat commitment. Everybody commits. The Americans go ahead and throw a sortie, and the Germans throw their tanks marker. So that they'll end up at +3 each when we get done with all the adds and subtracts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total, -2. 1 for the weather, 1 for the terrain. The Americans start off at 1 for American, 1 for the armor, and 1 for the airplane, so they're at +3. So it's +3 to +3. And the Germans roll. A 2 plus 3 is a 5. The Americans roll. A 2 plus 3 is a 5, so nothing happens. We hold our hex. Germans go ahead and put their tank marker on the turn track. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So Germans have no more commitment that they can make. I don't think they don't have artillery. The Finns and the Swedes can use their ground supports, but not the Germans. Is there anything to do in Italy? Not really. Well, I could move this guy forward here to try and push the Americans out. Why don't we do that? Right. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, -2. It'd be +2 to minus. It'd be +2 to +2. No. +2 to +2, and you could throw an airplane in to make it +3. What the heck? 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be down 10. Did I move some other people? I'm really confused now. I should be down 10. I started at 32. Okay, that's right. Never mind. I started at 32, not 36. For some reason, I thought it started at 36. It started at 32. So, Munich is the primary, so it's 1, 2. 1 for each buddy is 3 and 4. -1 for the weather, -1 for the terrain. Americans will go ahead and pop their airplane to give him a +1, so he'll be a +3. +1 for American, +1 for armor, +1 for an airplane. And so it's +2 to +3. Germans roll. 4 plus 2 is a 6. The Americans roll. A 5 plus 3 is an 8. 6 to an 8 is just a time. It doesn't matter. So, that didn't work either. That was just a vain attempt. If I'd have gotten lucky, I would have had them attacking me across Alpine, not only into hills, but across the ridge sides. It just makes it a little bit tougher for them to get through, but that didn't work. So, now over here in the east, I could go with 3-4 to 2. He'd have 3 because he's going to get an airplane in no matter what I do. So I could go 4 to 3 or I could go 5 to 3. And this would be 3-4 to 2 at best. So yeah, we'll go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, don't want to take everybody. Push me down to 18. We're going to try to get this 5th guard's tank. See if this works. So the armor is the primary, so he's +2 for German, +1 for armor. And he gets +1 for each of his buddies. And then he's -1. And the Russian is +1 because he's elite, +1 because he's armor. So right now it's a +4 to a +2. And then the Russians will go ahead and send their airplane. So it now becomes a +4 to a +3. And the Germans roll. A 1 + 4 is a 5. Not a good die roll. Russians roll a 2 + 3 is a 5. So they hold their ground. And then where this airplane is here, I'm going to attack as well. So 2, 3 more. Puts me down to 15. And again, the armor is the primary, so he's +3, +1 for a buddy, and then -1 for the weather. And the Russian starts off at +1 for being elite. And we'll throw in this back-sided airplane to give him +2. So it's +3 to a +2. Germans roll. Hey, a 6 + 3 is a 9. What do you know? Good die roll. Russians roll. A 2 + 2 is a 4. 9 to a 4 is a DR, which is bad for the Russians because then they also have to move their airplane. So they'll just move it a space up here, and that makes them take a sortie. And he retreats, and we'll take it with a garrison for now. Okay. And let's see, I'm at 15 now. What do I got at my faction track? Oh, I got a ton of infantry. I got 6 infantry and an airplane. That would be 12. And then 3 more for an airplane on here, or I could go for... That would be 6. 2 airplanes, which would be 12, and then I could build this one somewhere. Which would give me 3 airplanes at 2 sorties each. Or I could forego that and end up with 4 or 5 airplanes with 2 sorties on each of them. So I just have to wait and see what the Allies do to me. That's pretty much going to be the German turn, I think. We're going to save those points for flipping units that might get DD'd and for rebuilding our aircraft, just to keep the Allies in balance somewhat. And that's about all we can do right now. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. Do I have anybody that's cut off? I don't think I have anybody that's out of supply here. I'm just kind of scrolling around the map, making sure I didn't miss anybody. He's still in supply through the 2nd Panzer until he cuts that. Can't retreat, but at least I'm in supply and not isolated. All right. That was the German operations phase. I'm going to go ahead and call this a turn. Probably going to do these in shorter bits because I think the West may have more to do. So, I'm Gen 608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. That was the end of the January 45 Axis operations and beginning of turn stuff. We will return with the Western operations in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.